Okay. Uh, I'm making this video for a few reasons here. I'm gonna go ahead and play some true Vanguard footage. I hope it's not gonna get copyright striked or something, but maybe I'll go ahead and minimize the window or something. I don't know if I would get copyright striked. I guess it could. I better probably go ahead and freeze this. The content of the video is kind of irrelevant. I could have put my own gameplay, but I don't really have an easy way to do that. It's a pain in the butt. I play on Xbox One X, so it's not like I can just easily record on my PC or something. So I don't know. I'd have to look in and then when I play, I like to commentate too. And the only way I find out how to do that is to actually record it to Twitch and then go download the Twitch archive, and it's kind of a pain. So I don't really use my own footage. I don't have a capture card or anything like that. And then another way I can do it is just by recording the screen, but once again, it's kind of a pain. I just have to sort of balance my camera somehow, or which would just be my smartphone because that's all I have. So, anyways, yeah. Normally, I just play somebody else's. I always sniffle so much in these videos. I don't sniffle that much in real life. I don't know why I do it on these videos, but yeah, I like True Vanguard a lot. So, but I'll go ahead and freeze. I was gonna play his latest videos footage in the background, but I was thinking that it could get a copyright strike. I'm not too sure how all those things work, but I think if you use somebody else's footage, it could be a copyright strike. So I won't do that. I'll just freeze it here because it doesn't really matter to have anything on the background. The important thing is what I'm going to talk about, which is I want to do a true guide to Fabled. Now, what I mean by true is I've seen there's so many guides. There's so many guides in Destiny 2 on YouTube about how to reach Fabled, how to get to Fabled. And I was trying to get to Fabled, and I had no idea how to do it, because if you don't know about me and my Destiny career, so to speak, I love Crucible. And I've been playing Destiny thousands and thousands of hours since year one. Now, I don't remember exactly when I started playing Crucible, but for like the first year of Crucible, I didn't play it at all. Or the first year of Destiny, I didn't play Crucible at all. I had never played a online PvP game really much. I think I played a little Gears of War online, a little Halo online. When I mean a little, I'm talking about 2 hours total playtime in my life. Very little. So Destiny was the first time I ever got into competitive PvP FPS at all. And once I started, I was so bad. I vividly remember starting and like walking around trying to shoot somebody. I don't remember why. I could not kill them, and these people were just killing me. I got really frustrated. I'm like, I'm not that bad at video games. I cannot even kill one person, and these people are just destroying me. And it really almost caused like a crisis in my mind. Like, holy cow, what is wrong with me? Why am I so bad? Am I that bad at video games? But eventually, I got a kill on somebody, I guess. And then I got another one. And, but I was so bad at first. I think at first my KD was something like .27 throughout my first, I don't know how many matches, but a decent while. And I've been playing Crucible heavily since then. It's basically become my favorite thing in the game by and large. Much more fun than PvE. It's my basis. It's what I fall back on. It's what I love to do in the game, to be honest. But here's the thing of it. I'm not good at it. Now, I've worked and I've struggled and I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of decent. Like, a good player probably wouldn't even call me decent. But by my standards, I'm decent. What I mean by decent, I'll tell you my KD. It's right around 1. Okay? That's all you need to know. I'm a 1 KD. That's probably the epitome of average. Now, in some ways, you could say that's not so bad because there's plenty of players that are below 1. But in some ways, it's pretty bad. But it's probably pretty bad considering how amount of time I put into Crucible. Because that's the thing, I've got a 1 KD and I've got a ton of time in Crucible. So in that respect, it's not that good. And also because I play the game a lot means I have all the best gear. And I have like a real analytical or rational mind for the most part. not to brag, but I tend towards the more, like logical things and stuff like that. And so I peruse all these message boards, Crucible playbook on Reddit. I know everything about the meta. I know what I'm supposed to use. I know what, not to a great degree of detail, but to a larger degree, I know what armor perks I want. I know the science of the Crucible, so to speak, even though I'm not very good at it. I run a very, I've got 5 super mods. I know that those are the best. I run Blast Furnace Pulse Rifle because I'm not good with hand cannons, and I know everything about the game in those respects. Like, I run Arcstrider Hunter. I run, the grenades that everyone uses with the Arcstrider Hunter, which are the arc bolts. On and on. I run Middle Tree Arcstrider. I know what's the meta. I know what the best guns are. For my heavy, I use Warcliffe Coil, of course, the meta slut gun. And of course I do a lot of playing around too, where I just use whatever's fun. I don't just always go into meta loadouts. Anyway, so I'm not very good at the game. And I'd never gone into comp. And it just wasn't fun to me, and I didn't think I could make Fabled. I think I tried once or twice, like a long time ago or something. So it was just an impossible dream for me to get Fabled and get these pinnacle weapons. So, this is a long story. About a month or 2 ago, I did start getting into comp, and I wanted to see, like, how far can I go solo in comp? I think it was maybe even tied to a Triumph or something originally. Like, I wanted to get some Triumphs in competitive that were related to competitive. And I just started playing comp a little, and I didn't get very far solo. I think I got up to like 800 at one point, but then I went right back down to like 200-300. Couldn't really make any progress, but at least I was in comp. Like when I started out, I didn't even really know how a countdown worked. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to, what's the optimal strategy for setting these bombs? All kinds of stuff like that. I guess the other game modes are Control, Clash, and Survival, which is kind of self-explanatory. But Countdown, at least, is kind of a unique game mode if you don't normally play comp. I didn't know what to make of it. It's not really that complex, actually, but I didn't know, like, am I supposed to run to these things and set them right away? What am I doing? What's the optimal strategy? Do you try to kill one enemy and then set it? What do people do in this game? What are the... And so I learned about Countdown and all that. And then a funny thing happened. About a month ago, it was, not that long ago, I was on Destiny LFG and I saw, and I really wanted, for some reason, like Luna's Howl and stuff. I don't remember why, but I really wanted it. And the Recluse submachine gun that just come out. And it was advertising on Xbox LFG. PlayStation doesn't have this, but Xbox has an awesome feature, which is a built-in LFG, which it's built into Xbox. And you can just go and pick your game. It doesn't matter if it's Gears of War, Destiny, Halo, anything. And there's like an LFG for it. So I used to use websites. No, you just do it right on Xbox now. It's got a neat system, people have tags, and you just say, I'm interested. You can click I'm interested, and you can write them out a little comment, or even just not. And they'll confirm or deny you, or, they'll just confirm if they want you. I think they just do nothing if they don't. So that's all. It's really a great LFG system. Considering it's built in the console, you don't ever have to go and do some clunky laptop thing like I used to do in Destiny 1, where I'd use like LFG website. No, it's all right there in the console. It's basically the same as what a in-game LFG that some people want. It's really pretty much that simple. You just hit a button in your Xbox, the home button, you can swipe to the side kinda and go there where you still got Destiny running in the background, and go reply to your LFG. Somebody invites you, you go right back to Destiny and accept the invite, etc., etc. So I was there. I think I don't remember what I was LFGing, but I saw somebody saying, like, super cheap Luna's Howl prices. People sometimes spam ads on there. You know, instead of it being like, hey, I need 4 people to come play Scourge of the Past or whatever, it'll be like, hey, super cheap Luna's Howl, whatever. You know, not the majority of the posts or anything, but you'll see some of that kind of spam. So I replied for like shits and giggles. I said, hey, how much is it? I was expecting like 300, $400. That's what I thought they were. He says $25. I was like, what? I said, I don't know if I trust you guys or something like that. And he said, just pay 10 up front. Come play a few matches with us. You know, PayPal. Want me to pay PayPal? Come play a few matches with us, or you can pay a couple matches now, and then you PayPal this $10, and then you'll play a few more, and then you can PayPal us the other 15. So I thought, oh man, that's crazy. I thought it was going to be a carry. Is honestly what I thought. I thought we were going to go in. These guys were going to be badasses, and you know they were going to carry me. Well, we go in, and basically they're doing some kind of router tricks. This video is already over 10 minutes, so I don't want to go too long here. So I want to cut this short. Basically, they're doing some kind of router tricks where they match make with another team that they're also putting through the same process. And then you load in and they disconnect one of the teams and you get an automatic win without even playing. You know, like a disconnect type win. But the thing that they figured out, the key to the whole thing, is the team that gets disconnected doesn't lose glory, but the team that wins still gains glory. So they just cycle through. They get like 8 people they get like 1 or 2 on each team are them. You know, the hacker types who are doing the thing, the router shenanigans. So the other players are customers, and you know they just cycle through. You see, they get multiple teams going. They match them against each other, and the key being they don't lose glory when you get disconnected like that. They know some trick about it. You know, goodness knows what they're doing behind the scenes. So you just cycle in and out. You rotate these teams in and out. You get your disconnect win. There's a lot of waiting involved because, I don't know, it takes a while to set up. You'll be waiting 10, 15 minutes, fly in, win your match. But you get some win streaks going and you start really racking up the points. It doesn't take that long. It'll take it took me, I was already like 1,000 glory that I earned myself solo, which is about as high as I can ever get solo, or that I tried. But anyway, so that's the technique, and I got Fabled that way, believe it or not. But then I was like, I really want to do this myself. Now, once I got to Fabled, I didn't have the hand cannon kills, I didn't have the solar kills, I didn't have the hand cannon precision kills. I wanted to at least do that part myself. I had Luna's Howl and Recluse at that point. So I started doing just going solo and doing the Luna's Howl kills. I'm terrible with a hand cannon, so terrible. I never play with it. I always use pulse rifles, scout rifles, going back to D1. Hate hand cannons, hate it. It's like water torture playing with them. I'm trying to get better, and I can play with them a little bit now, but overall I hate them. So, which probably gets back to my playstyle. I'm not good at close quarters combat. I like to keep things at a distance, but also paradoxically I'm not good at sniping. But I love pulse rifles, scout rifles, and submachine guns currently. So anyways, so during the course of, I just started playing solo, getting my hand cannon kills, hating every second of it. And I didn't have Luna's Howl at that point, so I had to use Trust. And I ended up dropping from the 2,100 points that I started out at after this paid thing, down all the way to 300 points, which I've gone way more than that. You know, I had soloed up to like 1,000 points already. But I know from past experience that I can't do much better than that solo. So yeah, I did terrible. That's another thing. I was hoping maybe solo I could keep some of my, keep up there around 2,100. No. I tried to win the matches and everything. I dropped from 2,100 to 300. Like nothing. So there I was down at 300, and I decided I'm going to try to get to Fabled again. So here's the key. And I just finished it. It took me a couple weeks or whatever. Here's the key. Now, other videos, like I said, they'll focus on, well, you got, here's how you play better. Here's the meta weapons you use. Do this, do that. They won't tell you the true, none of that matters. I'll tell you right now. It matters, but think about it. Your play is a small factor in so many factors of whether or not you win in comp and get Fable. There's like, to me, okay, think about the skill of the other players. There's 8 players in a comp match. You, your 3 teammates and 4 players on the other side. So there's the skill of 7 other players involved, besides yourself deciding the outcome of that match. So you see how even if you play great and you play 50% better than you normally do, it's not going to make a difference compared to 7 other players, you know. If your 3 teammates suck and the other 4 guys on the other side are badasses, you playing even 50% better, which is an insane amount better, doesn't make a blip on the radar. You know, those 4 guys are still going to obliterate. Conversely, if you have 3 really good teammates and the other 4 guys are trash, you can play 50% worse than you normally do. It doesn't matter, you know. You're still going to win easily. You see what I'm saying? Like, all these Fabled videos that focus on loadouts, they're good to a point, but everybody who's played the game much knows the good loadouts and stuff. And so they don't really help you. You know, or, you know, here, you need to win your 1v1s, you need to do this, you need to go for power ammo. You know, all that's true, but you should sort of figure that out quickly yourself. Here's what I'm going to tell you. And I'm kind of a forever alone type. I don't really like gaming with people much. I like playing Destiny solo. I don't like the whole thing of like you're playing a game and somebody requests you to do something with them. Because then I always want to just do what I want to do right then. So I don't like the whole Xbox Friends thing. I don't like invites into a game. You know, because I never want to do whatever they want to do. So I just avoid that whole thing. So I don't have people I play with. I'm in a clan, but it's like a completely dead clan. And I never was familiar with anybody in any way. So yeah, I don't play with anybody in Crucible ever. I'm solo 100% of the time, basically. As far as playing with people I know. So I had to do this strictly through LFG. I used to know one guy I played the game with sometimes, but he quit like years ago. Anyways, so, where were we back? Oh yeah, so here's the key that I would say. LFG, you have to be in a group. Now, here's the exception. If you're really good, you could probably solo it. I'm sure you can. If you're like a 2KD, you can solo it. Okay, that's great. That's the only way. You cannot, by and large, solo this as an average player. I'm here to tell you. You can't do it. Because there's so many factors working against you. Listen to my skill example that I talked about earlier about how the skill of 7 other players is much more important than you, really. It's not even just that. There's so many other factors. How about like whether the other team is a 4-stack and your team's all randoms? You know, that's like another huge variable, you know. All those are like so much more important than like you playing 30% better than normal. You having the game of your life playing 40% better than normal. It just doesn't move the needle, you know. So that's what I think is an important thing to note here, you know. Any video that focuses on here's what you got to do, you got to play out of your mind, you got to go for the objectives, you got to play within yourself, you got to hit your shot. You know, all that's missing the forest for the trees, in my opinion. What I would recommend is go on LFG, Xbox LFG for me, and just find posts and just join up with them and see how it goes. If you get a good group, I made most of my progress in like one group. We won, I don't remember what we won. We won, I want to say like 7 in a row, maybe even. I don't know, but that was the group where I made the majority of my progress. We won a lot. I remember we lost our last 2 and then disbanded, but we won like a lot before then. That was like where like I said, I believe, can't remember exactly how my progress went, but I made the lion's share of my progress right there on that one group. And I was not being carried either. Even though I'm not good, we were all fairly much the same skill level. Let me tell you some of the advantages of being in 4-stacks. Oh, I call them 4-stacks. I just mean 4 team of 4. I don't mean like 4 really skilled people. Apparently it means that. I always just thought it meant 4 people grouped up, you know. To me, skills got nothing to do with it. But apparently I learned that team 4-stack to some people means like 4 really great players together. It doesn't mean that to me. It just means 4 people teamed up. Anyway, so there's huge advantages of being a 4-stack. If you go in solo, here's some of the shit that's going to happen to you. You're going to go in quite often, and you're 3v4. 2v4. I don't know, somebody drops out, somebody disconnects, whatever. It's automatic L, and that's going to happen, I don't know, it's every 5th match or something. Probably a lot of times the randoms that you're flying in with see that it's a team of 4 you're going against or something, and they drop. So right away, that's an automatic L, and you don't want to drop the comp matches because, as I understand it, you don't get your weekly bonus reset points if you drop too much. Now, I did have a disconnect or two, and I still got my points, so I don't know where the threshold is of, if you drop this many games, or you quit this many games, you don't get your weekly reset point. I don't know where that threshold is, but the point is you don't want to be backing out of games or anything like that. And so you got to sit there and play out a freaking, 99% certain outcome of like 3 people versus 4. And that happens, like I said, pretty regular. I mean, like I'd say, something like probably like 1 out of 5 matches. It's an automatic L, basically, if you're loading in with 2-3 players against 4. You're just not going to win that. You can sometimes win a 3v4. I've been on the losing end of a 3v4 too. I think I've even won one. But, that's, your odds are like so stacked against you. So that alone, if you're in a 4-stack, that won't happen because nobody's going to drop, you know what I mean? Unless, barring some kind of goofy connection issue. But that won't happen. Right off the bat, just the fact that you've got 4 players in every match. If you play solo, some of your matches you're only going to have 3. And like I said, it seems like 1 in 5 or something. You just fly in and, we've got 3 players. Great, So just right there, these advantages just stack up. Even if, another thing is, a lot of times when you go in solo, your teammates will just be terrible. Terrible, just like they don't know what heavy ammo is. They never revive you. You know what I mean? I'm seriously, I see some players that they just ignore the heavy. It's not because they're playing by some code of honor or something. It's because they're so new or so dumb that they don't know the concept of heavy ammo within the game. I saw that fairly frequently. People that would just ignore the heavy blueberries because they don't know what heavy ammo is. That's unbelievable to think about, but it's true. So, you get those matches where even where it's a winnable game and you play great, doesn't matter because you're playing with 3 total potatoes. That happens pretty often too. It's not even competitive. Another thing that happens often, you get matched against a 4-stack of beasts. You add all these things up that happen when you're going solo. You're just playing so behind the 8 ball. You just can't overcome all that, in my opinion. You can't overcome every 5th game. It's going to be a 3v4 and an automatic L. Every 4th or 5th game probably. You can't overcome that a huge percentage of other games, your teammates are going to be so bad that you have no chance to win. You know what I mean? You get to this point where maybe 40% of your games are actually winnable. Even if you go 100% on those winnable games, you're losing points. 40% win rate ain't enough to keep gaining in comp. You're stacking the deck against yourself. Yeah, if you're 2 KD, if you're 3 KD, if you're a monster, you can go in solo and do it probably. I hear people talking about it. So if you're an average player, you're not doing it. I'm here to tell you. Unless you get lucky. I could imagine getting on some kind of crazy lucky streak. But it would have to be, really lucky in my opinion. Just, keep matching up against crappy randoms or something. Here's another huge advantage of 4-stacks. When you go in with a 4-stack, and this is just LFG groups, a lot of times they'll back out. They see if the counter of opposing players jumps from, or players in the game, when you're going in matchmaking, jumps from 4 to 8. It's a well-known trick that you can back out. You can press the B button to stop the matchmaking, and it'll back out because the player counter going from 4 to 8 immediately, rather than going like 4 to 6, 4 to 5, something like that. Rather than kind of slowly creeping up, but taking that big jump from 4 to 8 usually means a 4-stack is against you, as far as I understand it. So if you back out right if you see it, right at the moment you see it go from 4 to 8, if you time it right, you just back out of matchmaking and you can go back into matchmaking a second later, and hopefully not get matched up against that 4-stack again. So it's a technique of evading other 4-stacks. Most of the LFG, I'm never the group leader, but most of the leaders that I got in with the LFG groups would do this. It's just a pretty normal thing. They would just avoid 4-stacks. I think sometimes you can't time it right and you just have no choice, so on. But for the most part, they avoid the other 4-stacks. It's just what you do. I guess, unless you're really great players or something. And conversely, we'd see times where like the counter jump from 4 to 8, and then you'd see it go right back to 4. Because what's happening is the other team sees that you're a 4 stack, and they're trying to avoid you just like you're trying to avoid them. 4 stacks don't want to face each other. So you get a huge. So what you end up with between those two factors, you're a 4 stack yourself, so other stacks are going to be avoiding you. Typically, the leader of your stack will also be avoiding other stacks. So, like 80% of the time, you're going in, you're facing like a 2 stack and 2 randoms, maybe a 3 stack and 1 random, 4 randoms. That's what you're facing all the time. You're not facing other 4 stacks. If you go in solo, you're just taking the brunt of freaking 4 stacks. The 4 stacks are going to find you because other 4 stacks are avoiding them. And they're probably avoiding other 4 stacks. So who's left? The guy who's going in solo is going to get like more share of 4 stacks than he should normally get to begin with. So yeah, I mean, though that advantage itself is huge. Like I said, that's 10 times more important than playing good. Honestly, just the advantage of the fact you're going to face like 80% fewer 4 stacks if you're a 4 stack yourself. It's a huge advantage, and you just get that by being in a group. So that's why I'm saying LFG is that's one of the biggest advantages I saw. Is that advantage right there of just you're not facing the 4 stacks. Other tips. Now, like I say, if you start losing, I lost a lot of progress in LFG too. In fact, there's one point where I kind of believed like, man, every time I solo, I'm gaining a lot more points than when I play with a stack. What's going on with the LFG group? This really was the trend for a while. I'd make some progress solo, I'd go LFG, and I'd lose all my progress and more. We'd lose 5 in a row or something. I'm thinking like, what's going on? So let me tell you another huge key. You have to, if you get in a bad group, you're not clicking, or they're just bad, or whatever the case, don't stay. Don't lose your progress. Don't stay. I know on Crucible Playbook there's a common rule of like, don't play comp past 2 losses. If you lose 2 in a row, quit for the day. Now, I don't necessarily subscribe to all that, but I think it's a good rule of thumb to think about. If you get in an LFG group and probably you lose more than like 2 in a row, it might be a good idea to dip on it. I mean, that's your call though. I would play that by ear, because if you notice that like it seems like a good group, good players, good camaraderie or whatever, but you're just running into 4 stacks that are really skilled, or even randoms that are really skilled. If you can tell it's just bad luck, then okay, stay with them. That's your discretion. But generally speaking, if you start losing, don't let the big long losing streak happen and push you back down. Don't ride that losing streak. That's one thing I didn't know when I started doing this. You want to ride winning streaks and ditch losing streaks fast. That's how you're going to gain ground. That's a key point. And like I said, that's about. Oh, one other trick I wanted to mention was, it's a good idea to screen the LFG poster. Now, if you're answering LFG ads and you're not posting the LFG ads, I never do. I just answer them for whatever reason. I just don't post LFG. I just answer other people's ads. Now, you can at least screen the poster of the ad. And what I do is I have a little Destiny laptop on my coffee table, basically just for Destiny related stuff. It's actually a Chromebook. And I'll have Destiny Tracker. I don't know if there's a better site to check people, but I just check their PvP record on DestinyTracker.com. It's pretty easy. You just type in their gamer tag real quick, hit enter, and wait for their stats to come up. And you want to see that they're at least decent. Now, if they're on LFG and everything, they're not going to be like awesome. And if you're not awesome yourself, why is like somebody who's like a 2 KD going to take a 1 KD? It's just not really going to happen. So you're not going to find like awesome players that are going to carry you or something. I mean, you might, but that'd be luck. Generally, but what you don't want is this noob that doesn't know what he's doing. It's probably like a 13-year-old kid. Maybe if he's even not a squeaker. You know what I mean? You don't want like the 0.6 KD, the terrible player. Screen him out. If he's a 1, I would say somewhere around 0.8 at least to 1 overall. That's the area where I mostly went with. Preferably more like 1.2, So somewhere in that like 0.9 to 1.1 is kind of acceptable. Anything below like a 0.9 KD, I would steer clear of. like I said, now you're not going to be able to screen the other two players in your group of 4 because he's going to be choosing them, or they may be his friends, or whatever the case may be. But yourself probably is decent, hopefully. And if you screen him, he's decent. 50% of your team is decent. So I recommend that. It helps a lot. It helps. Like I said, you just basically want to screen out the really terrible players. And sometimes you'll get even like good players. Or at least like a 1.2 KD. So that's all I'd say. And then another thing I did is once I got pretty close to, I made most of my progress in one group, as I stated. One run with one group, that was pretty good. So I got up to like 1,900 points. I started being conservative then and playing for the reset points and stuff like that. I think you can do that once you get up to that level. You know what I mean? If you want to, if you're patient enough. Like, you can just play your 3 matches, and the way it works is even if you go 0-3 and you only play 3 matches that week, you barely lose any points. I did the math. You lose like 36 points or something. So practically nothing. So you basically, if you worst case scenario go 0-3, you're still basically like treading water. You're almost even with the same points you had before after you get your reset points. If you go 1-2, you gain a little bit, a decent amount. I think it's around almost 80 points. If you go 2-1, and so on, it's very much stacked in your favor. But it doesn't help if you go 0-3, to be fair. But I kind of did that the last couple weeks, and the first weekend that I did it, I went only 1-2, which was kind of disappointing. But then, I went from like 1830 to 1920 or something like that. That doesn't sound like the math is correct though. I gained a little bit of points the first week. I know I went 1-2, and I ended that week at like 1920. So this week I was hoping to just at least go 1-2. I went 3-0, and I got to 2,164 points this afternoon. So I hit Fabled, which was my goal. Got in a good LFG group again. That's the key. And the funny thing is, this guy had posted like, comp, this and that, 1.2 KD. And I always, if it's applicable, I'll always lead with my KD, because I don't want people thinking like I'm a beast or something and then being disappointed. I want to be straight up with what I am, an average player. But if you need a warm body that can, at least isn't a complete potato on your side, I can help you, So I straight up messaged him, hey, I'm a 1 KD, I think. That's all I messaged him, because you can't get too wordy on an Xbox controller. It's too hard to type anything out. Although you can use your phone to do it. But anyways, I'm getting around to it more, but I still sometimes forget. But anyway, so I just messaged him 1 KD, and he invited me, and they were talking and kind of joking around like, hey, we invited you because you told us 1 KD, and we said, hey, at least this guy's honest, at least he's honest, let's invite him, so things like that can definitely happen. And these guys were all pretty good. They were all definitely better than me. They're all like 1.2 KD-ish. And we went 3-0. I was usually the worst player in the group, but I held my own decently, and I got to my 2,164 points. I have one other tip. Oh yeah, you'll kind of figure this out for yourself, but you want to be around the same glory as who you're playing with, because the matchmaking, nobody, I'm sure, knows exactly how it works. Some people, it doesn't just go by the leader. That would be too easy to game. Like, let's say the leader has 300 glory, and then the other 3 players have 4,000 glory. It's not going to match you with other 300 glory people. That'd be stupid, But it takes into account everybody's glory. So you don't want to get into a group that's like a 3,500, a 2,500, and a 2,100, and you're 1,000 glory. You're going to be match made with really difficult teams that are way over your head. You know what I mean? Plus, they're not going to want you anyway because you're not that good, probably. So you want to keep the glory scores about the same. You want everybody, like if you're around 1,000, ideally, now you're not going to always be able to do that. You want everybody else around 1,000. You don't want everybody too much higher than you, or really even lower than you. Probably lower than you might be fine if they're decent players, because glory is not always going to correlate to skill. But like I said, you'll figure that out for yourself. But like, you want your glory scores of the whole team to probably be in the same general range within a few hundred points, like 1,300 to 1,800 if you're 1,600. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be matched against super hard opposing teams, because one or more other players in the team have a really high glory score. Like, even if you have one player that's 4,000, that's probably going to drag you up. into pretty hard matchmaking, you know. So you don't want that. But as I said, everyone kind of knows that in LFG, and a lot of times glory score is one of the main factors they'll list in their listing and stuff. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. You can do it as an average player. I'm a 1 KD. I'm the epitome of an average player. And I did it, but you're going to need LFG, and the tips I gave you can help you. Ride win streaks. Give yourself lots of time. That's another thing. A lot of times I'd start too late in groups just because I'm a night owl. I'm filming this video at 2:11 a.m. But if you start going into LFG at 2 a.m., first of all, I noticed the competition seems tougher late night. I've noticed other videos saying that too, just because I think the population is lower, and it's like the no-life, hardcore, tryhards and all that. You know, that's neither here nor there, but I think prime time's easier, meaning like 7 to 10 p.m. or even during the day, because the players are not as good. The player base is more diluted, let's put it that way. There's more people in there, so you're getting more chances to match against easy people, you know. Like I said, I would definitely give yourself a good runway. One mistake I made is several times I'd get into a decent group or something, and it's 2 a.m. and they break up because it's late. People got school, work, whatever. So your risk of breakup is high if you're playing very late night and stuff of your LFG group breaking up. You know, to me, I would rather start at 7 where everybody can have, or 5, or whatever the case may be, where, yeah, maybe the group's not good, maybe it breaks up, whatever, but it's not going to be because of time constraints, you know. Give yourself a lot of runways. If you get in a good group, you can play and play and play. And if you're winning, most people will stay in. Like I said, the good group that I made most of my progress with, I probably could have made my Fabled in that group, but it got real late, and then, like I said, we lost 2 in a row, and so everybody kind of just disbanded. But a lot of it was because it was really late. I think it was like 4 a.m. or something. If I got into that group earlier in the day, you know, I probably could have got Fabled just off of that group, because they probably would have stayed together and they were good. So yeah, those are my tips, you know. You can do it as a 1 KD. It's easier than ever this season. I didn't try it before, but it's easier than ever. Because you only need half as many wins now, and you get more points on reset. And they've made it easier in the past too, because you used to have losing streaks and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, those are my tips. You know, if you're an average player, you're going to have to LFG. You're just going to have to get. It may take, you know, it may take weeks. You know, you're going to have to try to find groups. The groups you get in a streak with, ride that streak. The groups that are losing, do not let it kill your progress, you know, bail. And all the other tips I told you, you know, the glory score thing, like I said, playing, you know, if you've never played comp, play it solo for a month or a couple weeks first to familiarize yourself with it, how it feels, survival and countdown that aren't in other game types, you know, stuff like that. And like I said, screen the LFG poster, so on and so forth. Unless you want to post yourself, I don't do that. But yeah, that's my tips, you know. And it's not that, you know, I don't want to downplay and say that how you play doesn't matter. You shouldn't try to play good. Obviously, it does. But I think that way too much is made of it in the light of everything else. You know, there's so many factors that are going to go into whether you win or lose in comp. That your personal play, you know, it sounds terrible to say it, but it's not going to move the needle too much in a lot of cases. You know, or it can, but you got to take care of everything else first, you know. You got to put yourself in a position to win. You got to stack all the cards in your favor, and you're only going to do that in a group. You know, you just only are. Anyways, that's my video on how to make Fabled as a very average player. If I can do it, anyone can.